I'm Rabbi Marilee Gordon of McHenry County Jewish Congregation. I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk to you about this week, but our videographer, Adam Mullowell, said, how about the importance of Hebrew? And when I asked him to elaborate, he said, well, it connects us over time and space. And I thought, he's so right. So I want to talk to you about the importance of Hebrew. Now, we think of Hebrew as being what the Bible's written in, and we think of Hebrew as being what our prayers are written in. But so much more was developed in Hebrew over the ages. Think about it. For 2,000 years almost, no one was speaking Hebrew, but they were praying in Hebrew and they were writing in Hebrew. And we have this book called Mikraot Gedolot, and it has commentators through the ages talking about whatever the portion is. Now, this week's portion, Shalach Lecha, if you open to the beginning of it, this is what it looks like in Mikraot Gedolot. And you've got the Bible here. You've got a translation into Aramaic here. And then you've got all different commentators through the ages in different places around the world expounding on the Parsha in Hebrew, even though they've never spoken Hebrew. So what I really get a kick out of is over here you have Rashi, and he was in France in the 12th century, and he's like the first commentator anyone goes to because he tries to explain what the words actually mean. So, and he was in France. And then you go down here to Ramban, Nachmanides. He was in Spain a century later. And he starts out by quoting Rashi and saying how he disagrees with him. So you have Rashi in France, Nachmanides in Spain, and our Hebrew Bible, and they're in conversation with each other in Hebrew. There's your bridge. Now, today, you can go to any synagogue around the world, in any country, and the service you'll understand to the extent that you understand it here because it's in Hebrew. It's our holy tongue, and it's our connecting tongue. And one time, maybe 20 years ago, Leo and I were on a Jewish tour of Turkey. And I went to synagogue with another person on the trip on Shabbat morning. We had to register beforehand. And I picked up a Siddur, and there it was. It was all the prayers in Hebrew. Now, what was funny to me is we were in another Turkish synagogue, and I picked up the prayers. I picked up the prayer book, and over here was Hebrew, and over here was what looked like Hebrew. But when I deciphered the Hebrew on this side of the page, it was actually Turkish. So they used the Hebrew script over here to give the Turkish translation of what was over here. Maybe your Hebrew isn't up to what it used to be, or maybe it never was. So maybe we can get together and improve on your Hebrew, if that's what you would like. I have a couple of ministers have spoken to me that they had to take Hebrew when they were in seminary, and their Hebrew's gotten rusty, and they would love to have a class to brush up on their biblical Hebrew. Why, you might say? You can just read the Bible in English. But you know, every translation is an interpretation. There are so many different ways you can translate any sentence from Hebrew to English, or I suppose from Spanish to English, or whatever. But there are many biblical translations out there. And so it's very helpful to go back to the source, to go back to the Hebrew to see what do we think its meaning according to the Hebrew. And then we can look at the English translations and say, well, this person clearly had a different viewpoint, a different perspective than the person who translated the other. There's Hebrew as our bridge, our gesher, as the Hebrew word for bridge is. So, shalom uvracha. Let's hear it for Hebrew.